This is Too Much Intimacy, episode 10. Mark. Episode 10. We did it.
We made it to the double digits.
We got into the double digits. This was our first goal.
We made it to, like, puberty.
Puberty?
Yeah. Is it, like, around 10? Like, 10 is puberty.
Yeah, 10 episodes.
We hit puberty today.
Puberty. I think, so season 2, we're going to be in teenage phase. So season 2 is age 13 to 26.
Is that... Okay, whatever you want to do with the seasons.
Well, because we were going to do a 10-episode season.
Yeah.
And then we were going to say, like, okay, we're going to start, telling people about it after 10 episodes.
Oh, is that what we said?
That's what we said.
Oh, shit.
So we're here. But somebody told us recently, so an experienced Shauna Cass from Very Ape, they told us a season is 13 episodes. So we've got to get to 13.
13 is a good number. We should go to 13.
That's what the episodes back in the television days were. That was a half season. Full season was like 22 episodes. And now that it's all streaming, everything's like 8 to 10, maybe even 6. They're getting lazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your crown fell off.
You tell me, and I'll do it.
Do it.
I am yours.
Babe. You got your... Bubs is yours right now.
Bubs is mine. Sorry, I'll focus. I was trying to get Bubs' purse. He was so happy.
That's it. Bubs is a happy boy.
He liked this little hug that I was giving him.
This episode is just... for our celebration of our 10th episode, we're just going to give you an hour of us putting a microphone into Bubs' face.
Do you think that he could purr for like a full hour? I think he would fall asleep.
Oh, God, that'd be so cute. That'd be cute. That'd be so... Put in the comments if you just like... If you would watch a Bubs-only channel. I think we should just have a camera on Bubs 24/7.
We should test it out. We should do some shorts with weird cat content.
We should do weird cat content. We've got, the most beautiful boy. And people say that male orange tabbies are quirky.
He's not technically orange, though. He's ginger buff.
He's ginger buff? I thought he was strawberry blonde.
The name, they call it ginger buff, or you can call it strawberry blonde.
When you were in school, did you have any people with ginger buff or strawberry blonde hair? Any friends?
I don't know. I don't think so. Why?
Because my longtime crush had strawberry blonde hair.
Kristen Feldwich?
Don't say I mean, you said it wrong, so it doesn't matter, but hilarious. Oh, by the way, this is Jester and Phoebe's Too Much Intimacy. Oh. I'm Jester, she's Phoebe.
Yeah, thanks.
In case you weren't aware. We didn't really introduce this well.
Thanks for introducing us.
Anyway, so, yeah, I was remembering April Fool's Day, 2nd grade, which would have been... I'm not going to try to do the year. It doesn't matter. And I brought in a whoopee cushion on April Fool's Day. This was my first year at this school.
Were you so excited to bring in your whoopee cushion?
I was so excited to bring in my whoopee cushion.
You're like, oh my God, nobody else is going to have thought of this. I'm a fucking genius.
Exactly. I was like, I am
king of 2nd grade.
This is, well, I wasn't the king. I was like, I didn't feel like I knew anybody, because I was the new kid. But
you were new?
Yeah, because it was 2nd grade. I went to a public school for kindergarten. I went to a smaller Christian school in Brighton. In Boulder? Yeah, I went to Boulder for 1st grade. And then 2nd grade, I went to Mile High. And so it was my first year.
Oh, I see.
And I had a crush on the teacher, Mrs. Chavez. She was so cute. I loved her very much. And I was the only kid in class who didn't get a single warning. I was basically a perfect little 2nd grader. I never got in trouble, but then I was like, okay, this is the day that I can be myself on April Fool's Day. So I brought in a whoopee cushion, and I was getting everyone. I even got my strawberry blonde-haired crush, whose name we will never say again. So I got Kristen, and it was really fun. And then I remember she was playing with it. Like I went to do something else, but I let her keep my whoopee cushion, as a token of my love. And and she broke it, I guess. And she called me over and she broke it. She said, "I broke your whoopee cushion." And she was like really sad. She was, I don't remember if she was crying or not, but in my memory, she was like devastated, crying. And I was like, and then I was devastated. I was like so sad. Like I had a big emotional reaction because I had a crush on Kristen and I made her cry, even though it was my whoopee cushion that made her cry. And so now I've just got a complex about being a prankster and hurting women's feelings. And
Oh, wow. So
yeah.
you think that was the moment that you diverted paths?
Yeah, exactly.
You were like, I'm not going to be a professional.
I'm not going to be
prankster.
a professional prankster. The ladies won't like it.
Dang.
It would have been a fun life. I really might have ended up in the circus. I definitely was in the circus in a past life. Oh,
I can see it, babe.
I don't know if you. This is how we met in our first life. I was in a traveling circus, and you were the princess of a small town, somewhere in fucking Fantasyland. And I won your heart because you were about to marry someone you didn't want to marry, and I was just like the circus clown, and but you fell in love with the circus clown.
Nice.
And that's how you escaped your shitty, arranged marriage.
I like that story.
Yeah.
I buy it.
I think it's a good one.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Writing how we met each other in past lives.
Yeah, maybe.
So what's going on with Kitten?
Good question. I feel a little unfocused right now.
Yeah. Do you need the weed to focus you up?
No.
Just checking. I feel like because we're not the same level of stoned, we're like in two different podcasts. We're trying to figure out what part of the vibe we're in. Are we in our chill vibe, or are we in our like batting it back and forth, jokey vibe?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm not contributing a lot to this episode.
Oh, it could be because I'm talking too much.
No, you're doing great. Get all of your... Do you want to say
Get all
more
my
stuff about
verses.
Kristen?
I saw Kristen again. She came to New York, and she and this other girl from high school came to visit. Her name was Rachel, and this was when I was living in Brooklyn, and we were meeting at a coffee shop in Williamsburg because they were coming to Brooklyn. They wanted to go to Williamsburg. Well, I did not live in Williamsburg. I lived in Crown Heights, and there's no good trains between Crown Heights and Williamsburg.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a major problem getting to North Brooklyn if you don't live in like Park Slope, So I had stuff. I think I had like an audition I had to record or something before, and then I was like, oh, I'll just bike there. But my bike had recently been stolen, so I was relying on the city bike thing. So I was like trying to city bike. I was trying to like without using a navigator because I didn't have headphones or something. I don't know why I didn't just put the thing. I tried to navigate myself from
Oh my God.
Crown Heights, and I like went the wrong way, and I like ended up biking uphill for a while, and so I was like 15-20 minutes late to meeting these two girls that I hadn't seen in decades, that one of them who I have a lifelong crush on, and and I'm just like sweating, and it was a traumatic moment.
So many traumas. Related to Kristen. Any other traumas related to Kristen?
No, I took her to. It was a nice arc. I took her to homecoming the last year.
You
our
did?
Senior year. Yeah, like I think she had like just
Whoa.
gotten out of like a big important relationship, and I like wasn't in a relationship, and like we both knew like we were never gonna actually, we were both going to college in different places, so it wasn't like we were gonna have a romance. And I don't know, I think she felt safe with me, and she like knew she made my like second grade dream come true, so that must have been fun. It was very sweet.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Do you think she's doing good now?
I think so. Yeah, she's got. Last I remember, she was married with a couple of kids in the Dakotas. I don't know. They might have moved back to Colorado now, though. I bet living in the Dakotas would be wild.
Sounds like a different country when you call them the Dakotas. I don't think I've ever known anyone who has lived there.
Or called them the Dakotas.
I just don't know, like...
I mean, there's only like 16 or 17 people that live there. Comment if you're from one of the Dakotas.
I don't really want to out myself, but like I will admit that I could not place them on a map.
No. Okay, well, you know what?
I know the north one is on top.
North one's on top. I bet if you looked at a map, you could like logic it out. I feel like North and South Dakota are the two that if you just like with very little knowledge,
maybe I could.
I bet you could find it.
You've also got a pair of Carolinas.
Yeah, but I mean, the Carolinas are like on this coast, and the Dakotas are in the middle somewhere. So.
Yeah. Let's not get into it.
You don't want to turn this into a geography episode?
Definitely not.
So the Carolinas are shaped differently, but the Dakotas are basically the same shape.
Yeah.
All right. We're doing the map thing. Did you know that once I tutored my friend Ding the map of America because she was learning it for her like citizenship test or her like I don't know something. She was from South Africa and she had to learn a map or something, and I tutored her. I tutored her over the phone without looking at a map. I was like, "All right, the one that looks like a chef's hat? That's Minnesota. Below Minnesota is Iowa." And then because there's like a Kentucky Fried Chicken.
You just know it by memory where they all are?
I used to. I probably don't anymore. I mean, if you put it in front of me, I could fill out a map, but I used to be able to just do it by sight, by memory. I was a smart guy for a little while. I started smoking all this weed.
You know what? I will say something, an interesting takeaway that I got from my however many weeks I did not smoking weed, like going pretty clear-headed, was that sometimes things that just happen to me mentally that I attribute to weed, it's not actually the weed.
What is it?
I don't know.
Aging?
I don't know. I think I would prefer not to, like... What? Is there cat hair on my face?
Yeah.
I think I would really prefer not to be like, oh, it's because I'm older. Like, I don't know. I guess if we're attributing anything to anything, I would probably say, like, our brains just don't really need to know that many facts anymore.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
We all have, like, this supercomputer in our pocket.
Yeah.
So, like, I put everything in the calendar.
Yeah. You got to work out your brain computer, though.
I think evolutionarily, like, we just don't.
Oh, that's true. Evolutionarily.
I think there's different parts of I think that we need to use. We don't need to use as much of our brains anymore. I think that for the reality that we're currently living in, at least the one that I'm living in.
The computers do all the remembering for us.
The computers do all the basic fact remembering. Well,
they do the math.
It's good to know how to tip 20%, do that math without taking out your calculator. That's a good one to know.
That's a good one to know, but half the time the tip machines just have it there for you.
Yeah, but they don't all have it. But
they will.
I think it's good to be in touch with your other senses, your other intelligences, your intuition.
Yeah.
It's not all about
it's true.
Facts and figures anymore.
Now that I've freed up some space with the map of the United States, I really know exactly where I'm headed in life. I really have a lot more confidence that I can intuit my way through any situation.
Yeah. You should celebrate that space that you have freed up.
I have, for sure. But I intuited helping my friend pass a test. So it was there when I needed it.
Yeah.
It was there for me when I needed it. I used to be such a smart. So much of my identity used to be like knowing shit. You're like, remember that time when we were hanging out with my family and me and my sister just started like batting it back and forth, like just reciting facts about like Europe or whatever. It was so fun.
When did you do that?
This was last Christmas, I think. This was Christmas sometime. We were like at that restaurant in D.C. I forget exactly when, but maybe it was the trip before.
I don't remember.
It was just it was fun to hang around my sister, who her brain works like mine. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you
good
Go
luck to you.
Good luck to me. Wha- I don't understand.
I don't understand either.
Okay.
You go right ahead.
Do you think you think similar to your sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same, but I think because we were raised by the same parents, we have a lot of the same, like, internal value systems installed. Not that I think that me, out of the three of us, I feel like, I don't know, specifically around money, I feel like I have that same operating system installed that my parents gave us, but I feel like I don't really, like, use it as much.
Yeah.
I think about money, I think, differently than my family does, a little bit.
How do you think about money?
I don't think that I operate with a scarcity mindset around money.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like 100%, obviously.
Yeah.
Especially as someone who hasn't had an income since January.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I definitely do feel it sometimes. But I think... I don't know. I just have so much trust. I don't think about it that much.
You don't. To me, it seems like you don't really let money bother you too much. Like you know who you've been with a lot of money. You know who you've been without a lot of money.
Yes.
And so, like, you kind of know that it comes and it goes, it flows, and it's okay when you don't have it. It's just a different energy. When you do have it, you know, that level of stress, you know, is kind of gone. But, like, you know, there's other stresses. Then you just stress out about other stuff.
Yeah.
Stupider stuff, you know? Like, it's just like life needs certain amount of stress. And you choose not to get yours from money, which is probably a really good thing. You know, because money is just an energy, you know?
Yeah, I think it is. I feel like curious about my relationship with money right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I recently listened to that audiobook, that book called Happy Pocket Full of Money, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
The most, like, woo, in-depth way I've heard people talk about money before, kind of as, like, I don't know, an abundance mentality, and just humans as creators, that we're, like, wired to create things, and how, you know, how our societal programming can come in to make us think that we can't create wealth, which is why a lot of people can't create wealth anyway. Obviously it's a very nuanced conversation. Yeah,
it's more than just like, oh, we're being brainwashed and, like, break open the chains of your mind and all of a sudden, well, money will come to you. Because obviously it's a lot more historically entrenched and everything than that, but...
Yeah, well, and I think it's easier for people who come from money. They grow up just with a different software installed in them around money. Yeah.
It's like almost like speaking it. It's almost like being like having a second language. Like I feel like my family was very financially literate, you know, and like I can't, like, you know, always had, you know, money in the savings account. I'm doing responsible things, and you know, but like having just a little bit of, you know, more frugal than most, probably, and like pretty good with the accounting. So I've got it installed in me also, but I don't have the discipline for that right now. I think I'm in a abundance mindset also.
Yeah. Well, I think it's such an interesting, like, time that we're in right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just heard this morning that Mercury and Venus are no longer in retrograde.
Thank God,
And
right, everybody?
Venus is, you know, relationships, love, money. And I feel like during that time that it was in retrograde, really like interesting random stuff kind of came up
Mm.
for me. Like, I told you I had this phone call like with a family member
Mm-hmm.
of mine, which doesn't really happen. I don't know. It was kind of one of those things where somebody in your family's like, "Oh, we need to talk. We need to like have a talk about something," and you're like, "Oh, what are we gonna talk about?"
Yeah.
And basically,
So did you know it was a money talk going in? Or
I
do
knew
you
it was about money, but
Okay.
I thought it was maybe related to like setting up a will, or
Right.
you know, it's all that kind of. That's what I usually assume it's going to be about,
Yeah.
like a serious sounding
Serious.
talk. But basically, I feel like a little bit mentally, something has changed in my mind.
Yeah.
So like, it feels like if you think of my nuclear family as having like 4 kind of like units,
Mm-hmm.
that like 50% of the units are like already set
Yeah.
financially.
I mean, I would say 75% of the units.
So maybe 75%. I mean, 75 to 50% are already there.
Yeah, they're
50% are like,
I didn't realize that.
which I was like pretty surprised about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I shouldn't say surprised, but like I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, the background that I come from, like my mom was the first person in her family to go to college, and my dad, you know, his parents were the children of first generation immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was definitely like kind of that immigrant like frugal
Mm-hmm.
mentality
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
So I just was like, whoa, 50% of my family has like made it.
Yeah.
And like the other one that's not us, I'm like, they're definitely setting themselves up for success.
Yeah. I think they made it, but we're also setting ourselves up for success. You know, we're just a little more wild about it.
Well, I think we're a little like we're a little slower too. Like I don't feel.
Oh, go ahead.
Because I don't feel anxious. Because I haven't felt anxious my whole life about like, oh, saving for retirement, or like I know that
Yeah.
it will be probably would be in my best interest to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't felt the anxiety about it to like fuel me kind of like going on a like predetermined
Yeah.
path of like, oh, this is the textbook way to like get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also just like when you have your own small business, sometimes you need to like assess the gambles of like where you're putting your resources,
Yeah.
and sometimes it really seems like it makes sense to gamble on yourself,
On your present, also. Yeah.
on your present moment, so that you can build the thing that you really believe in.
Yeah.
That you think is gonna
Yeah.
support you in the long term.
Exactly. Something that will make the retirement account full very quickly or irrelevant, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it was so interesting to listen to this audiobook though. I mean, it's actually a real book, but I was listening to it on audio because
Audiobooks are
It-
real books?
well,
What do you got against
also,
audiobooks?
no. I don't know. I'm just clarifying. I also found it for free on YouTube, which I was like,
Awesome.
maybe I'll order the book, and then I just found it for free and listened to the whole thing. It was like 7 hours.
What's the name of this book?
Happy Pocket Full of Money.
Happy Pocket
I'll
Full
post
of
it.
Money.
I'll put a link in the thing.
We'll put a link in the description.
But it was just so. It was so interesting to go through however many chapters of the first part of the book, which are like about how manifestation works, how like creation energy works, how, you know, giving a lot of different examples there, and then going into the kind of like nuts and bolts conversation of like, okay, here's how we recommend you divide up your money based on this,
Yeah.
which was like much more like what I would think that my family actually does, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
than what I would have thought.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm like, oh, for my woo mentality, I'm like, oh, money is energy. Like,
Yeah.
I just need to have an abundance mindset around money and I'll always have what I need, which, you know, maybe for some people,
I think
that,
for me, that's the start.
that's
You
the
know.
start. Yeah. Yeah. But, I don't know. And I don't want to tell anyone how they should deal with their money, but
Yeah, we're also not like this is not stock advice, you know. Don't fucking go invest. The only thing we will tell you to invest in is doodle dollars, and we'll get to that later. Okay. The doodle dollar
And
printing
we'll talk about it later.
is temporarily closed. So, you know, now it's a rarity. So hold on to those 5 doodle dollars, those of you who have them.
Who have them digitally in the form of a short video?
Well, they have them spiritually.
Oh,
also.
I see.
And they have physical things. It's like the bank. We're the doodle dollar bank.
They're worth
It's not
more
a-
because we don't issue as many of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a gold standard, but it's a standard of, you know, love and trust
Yeah.
and, you know, mutual social interaction online.
Yeah. Okay, can I finish what I was saying about
Yeah.
money now?
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to me. This guy gave like a ratio, and he was like, okay, 10% of your income should go to giving back. I think it was 10%,
Yeah.
which is a normal thing.
Yeah.
Or like, I think Christian people, they have a tithe,
Tithe,
right?
yeah,
and
I
it's
grew up
10,
with tithe.
and it's 10%.
It's a very good idea.
10% is giving back to other people who need it
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
whatever. And then, oh God, I'm trying to remember what the percentage was
I was
for
going to
taxes.
say, babe, you're trying to do, I would guess 30%?
No, it was less. It was like,
Well, if you're smart.
it was like
or-
10 to 15% of
Yeah.
your income should go to taxes. And he was basically saying, he was like, so government, he was saying government is necessary to provide like basic services for
Mhm.
everyone, but the government is run by humans and humans are imperfect,
Mhm.
and you can't give them too much of your money because they just can't be trusted
Yeah.
with
Sure.
that.
Especially a large organization. You know, the larger an organization is, the more corruptible it is. You know?
Right. So he was instructing people to look into putting their money in offshore accounts and doing, meeting with the right advisors so that you don't have to pay more than 15% of your income in taxes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit.
Well, this is who all the liberals hate.
Okay. Very interesting, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting. And then I don't remember if there was there was a percentage to save for investments, to put in for like long-term investments like retirement, whatever.
Mhm.
And he kind of explains about that, which was also very interesting. I was like, oh, this guy's fucking telling me to set up a retirement account. Like,
Yeah.
I know some like big woo people out there are like, we don't do any of that. Anyway. And he was like, the rest, which was maybe like 70%, he was like, this should go for you to just enjoy.
Yeah. I
Which
mean,
was
that's
the-
amazing.
Which was the phrasing that he used. Enjoy is like
Enjoy.
everything else, which is like your house, your...
Okay, so he doesn't break it down. That's a smart thing.
He
to
doesn't
do.
break it down and say, only spend
Oh,
5% on food.
Only percent of this. Yeah,
only
that's,
go to Walmart.
That's
You
such a
know,
good
70%
mentality.
just do what you will with it. Enjoy your life. And just have the
Giving
other
back.
stuff automatically have it just taken out, so you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, you don't even have to think about it. But also, like, yeah, if you're giving 10% of your income back to, the people, if you're giving it back to the people, or making an intentional like donation-based thing, like I feel like you're like attracting good karma. Just like you're keeping the money energy flowing. I think we should do that. We should sit down and do a budget.
I think I feel like the time is coming.
Yeah.
I feel like once my salary gets like kicked back into gear, I
Mhm.
feel like it will be a good time for us to really look at these numbers.
I think we can do it now. I used to do this.
Yeah. Well, apparently there are all these softwares
They can do it for
that
you.
can do it for you now.
You
It's
don't
just
have
a
to
quick
use as much of our brain.
Google search away,
We could probably ask AI.
maybe. I was thinking about continuing my soapbox.
Continue.
Well, will just acknowledge that the money conversation, I think, is a very, people will have opinions about it.
People have opinions.
Everyone, everyone's going to have their opinions on how money should be spent. And I think if we get to a certain, having a certain amount of money, the giving away of more than 10% would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Which
yeah,
I think is what my family is, talking about doing now. The half that really is set up already.
It's so awkward to talk about money, huh?
Yeah. Historically speaking, it is awkward to talk about money. I mean, it's like a power exchange, right?
Well, I just like talking about it in front. Like, I feel like I'm uncomfortable talking about money around most people because I don't like, because I feel like most of my friends are like artists. So like,
yeah,
I am probably one of the most financially secure people in my social network. And like, clearly we're doing pretty good. We bought a house, but also we're on one income right now and we're a small business, so like we don't have the retirement account. So we're holding ourselves to a crazy high standard too. I feel like most people I know are just like getting by month to month, trying not to get in, a lot of them in deep credit card debt, deep student loans. And we're very privileged to not be there, even though we're also not like totally set up with, the retirement account and everything set up. But I think it's always awkward to talk about money because you just never know. It's so charged in today's society because our society is just like entirely based off of money. We've made money so important.
Right.
And I feel like we all kind of know that it's like, ooh, we're doing it wrong. It's just like there's clearly too much of this money up there. But then there's this subconsciousness of being an American or doing somewhat well off, I think is like, okay, well, where's the line? Where's too much? Where's not enough? And I have this massive guilt that it's like, I already have too much. I already have too much. I should be giving more away. And then kind of you had this conversation with your family and I'm like, oh, I thought we were doing as well as the family who is now doing like, the one that has definitely made it. I thought we were doing as good, if not better than them, but I was wrong.
Well, I think that's part of what like some of these strategies are for.
Yeah.
Is like you can make it so much easier to put your money in a strategic place so that it grows. Mm-hmm. So that you don't have to continually use a lot of your energy to make more money, like work longer at your job or like add more branches to your job so that your business is, I'm thinking about us as small business owners, it's like add more branches to your company to pull in more cash. Like, I think working smarter, not harder is definitely the like name of the game right now, especially with like new technologies and like all this information is like
everything's
readily accessible.
So much. Yeah, you just gotta be flexible.
Gotta be flexible.
I mean, you should be doing yoga. We all know that.
Yeah. Hashtag
gotta be flexible.
Yoga with Adrian.
Yoga with Adrian.
I started doing her videos again in the mornings.
You did?
Because I've been missing that yoga connection, and it's like it's just so easy. It's free on YouTube.
I gotta get back into yoga with Adrian.
Just get in there.
And
if you do just 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I can feel the difference.
I don't do yoga, but I was looking at myself with a shirt off a couple of days ago, and I was like, I look pretty good. I look pretty good for somebody who doesn't really exercise. But I'm very lucky. But you were saying it's because I stopped drinking, and that's probably a large part of it. I definitely had a little bit more of a gut when I was drinking.
I mean, it makes sense it's just like extra carbs.
Extra carbs?
That's what alcohol is.
That's what it is. Empty carbs, they say.
Empty carbs.
Also not good for the brain chemicals.
Sometimes
it's fun though.
Can I have a little Can I get something off my mind?
Please.
All right, I've been like feeling a little bit stressed, I think, today, thinking about, I feel like we're in this interesting pocket of our lives right now, right? Like, I haven't had an income since January. Your company's, your income is like, feels pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, a month ago it didn't, but it does now.
Yeah. But like, I feel like financially you're like I feel like you're the bedrock of our financial health and stability out of the two of us. I apologize. I apologize that I'm not
all right. We're getting it together.
Stronger there.
We're getting it. If you can bring in the discipline part, that'll change everything.
Yeah. But so I feel like we're in this interesting phase, right? Where like we have cut back our spending because of my income dropped.
Yeah.
But not like to an not crazy. Like I don't feel like we had to change drastically our lifestyle. Like we still like food for us, like one of our most important things.
We still splurge on food.
We still buy like the healthiest food that we can get, basically.
Yeah.
We just try to have our food as something that brings us joy, brings us nutrients.
Yeah, but we're not like buying new clothes. We're not like upgrading furniture and things like that.
Yeah, we're like trying to be minimal in cost for the house and not buying any new clothes, which that's something that I feel a little tense about.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I feel like I haven't given enough background information, but in my business, so my business is also in an interesting like point right now.
Yeah.
Where it feels like things are finally like getting stable. Like we're finally getting some momentum.
Yeah, you're getting out of your slump.
We're getting out of our slump. People are interested in us. We just had like a new like good contract signed for an apartment in the city. We also like I feel like I had my mushroom trip, which was maybe a little over a month ago, my big mushroom trip.
Yeah.
And I feel like during that trip, like I've said before, reconnected with myself, and I just felt like, fuck, I have a lot to bring to the table. And I feel like I was putting that energy out there of like, I should be getting these jobs. Why am I not getting these jobs? Why am I hiding? Why have I been hiding myself energetically from the industry that I've been in for 12 years now?
Yeah.
I've been like incognito mode. I didn't have an Instagram until like a year ago.
Yeah.
a business, like a Instagram for my business.
Yeah.
And I feel like about a little over a month ago, my energetics changed around this. And like a light switch turned on. And I was like, I should be getting these jobs, and I want to get these kind of, like, I was very specific. I was like, I want to get the high budget jobs. Like, there are people with money to spend who need help.
Yeah.
Who want to work with people who are like honest, good-hearted people you can trust, but that are like in touch with just all the things, I was like, okay, I want those big ticket jobs. I want the local jobs. I want to get into our own communities, I want to work with good people on like commercial jobs, people that are passionate about what they do, and like trying to build community and just like weave these things together of like excellence in materials and in like working with amazing artists and like creating immersive spaces that like really inspire people, and like these things that really have such power to uplift the communities that they're created in.
Yeah.
And just such a crazy example is like, so last year, it was 2 falls ago, we got like a great job for us. And the value of the apartment was like a full gut renovation in Manhattan, like in a great area. And the value of the apartment was like, I forget, like 1.5 million or something is what they bought it for.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, all right, we're going to do this. We're so excited. After this mushroom trip, we got connected. And the next connection we got, I looked up the value of their apartment. It's like a $4.5 million apartment.
Oh, wow. For the contract you guys just signed?
For the contract we signed. I mean, it's not a full gut renovation job, but it's still a good job. There's a lot of potential to like make it really special.
Here's what you got to convince them. you should be putting 10% of your budget into design, or 20. So let's say 20.
Yeah, but anyway, when we're brought on it from the start, of course that's what we advise people.
Yeah.
It's the best way, it's the most efficient way to spend your money. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then we got a random person reached out, and we looked up the apartment. It's like an $8.5 million apartment.
It's crazy.
And I'm like, fuck, this fucking manifestation stuff, it really works.
The wealth is circling.
But now I'm feeling like, and you know, I read this book, Happy Pocket Full of Money.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of like friends who are artists. We have like connections to like close people in our lives that, you know, have dealt with homelessness or like, you know, it's like, you know, a little bit dicey. Like it's kind of a fragile like financial situation. And I've been feeling a little bit of the stress of like, I feel that financial success for my company is coming. And I feel like I am wanting to gear up internally to get ready for it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, some of these clothes that I'm wearing, I'm like, I bought this fucking thing like 10 years ago. You know?
This is my shirt.
This is that's why I'm dipping into your wardrobe because I'm like, I don't have like stuff that I feel like fresh and like polishing myself in, you know, to represent like how good of work I know that I can do.
Yeah.
But also I'm feeling a little bit of the stress of like, I feel like part of my path in life is to be like a bridge for like, but over like it's a wide bridge. Because also when I think about the family that I came from, you know, I grew up in like, stuff was not like, my parents were like, the money was fine, but like stuff was not really handed to us.
Yeah.
It was like, if I wanted to buy a pair of jeans,
you worked for it.
My mom would give me $20, and if I wanted to spend more than $20, I had to work for it, get my own money, and pay for it myself, pay for the rest myself. And I do feel this weird kind of like dissonance internally, like when I look at the culture of my family, which is like
very frugal.
Very like, like wanting to be like very safe with money, you know, very like thoughtful about it. And frugal in the way of like
not taking too many risks.
They're not fucking going to the health food store.
Well,
they're like, we're going to Costco, baby.
Food's the first thing you gotta splurge.
One of my siblings, she and her husband, they did a year where they had a goal. They wanted to save 50% of their income. Or maybe it was even more than that.
That's wild.
They wanted to save, like, put a crazy amount in savings because they were, like, thinking about early retirement. And she's like, yeah, we, like, ate, like, beans and rice for a year, basically, to do it.
That's not our path. That is not our path.
I know it's not our path, but it's, like, it feels, if you think about the world that I work in, I mean, there's a spectrum, right? Not all the jobs that I work on are, like, oh, we're trying to create like a beautiful thing that could be published in Architectural Digest, you know, like a like insanely like layered work of art. Because that costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time to design that. Yeah. But it does span from that to like
people who are eating beans and rice.
People that are
they're scrimping away every
that
dollar.
are eating beans and rice who I'm like, okay, maybe they can get like a consult with us, you know, for their project because they're in a different reality with like how they want to spend their money.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
No, I think it makes sense because I really think that the new thing that you guys are like you guys are creating this design exploratory. Like you've got a client for this. Is it all right if I talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, the design exploratory.
The design exploratory. Yeah. So you have a client who you're doing just a design exploratory with, which is like a 6-week kind of workshop thing.
Yeah, it's like a workshop for people who know that they need help and they want help from a professional, but they're not really sure exactly what they need help with. Like, for people that don't have a clear direction. So the design exploratory is like where there's a dedicated time, like we spend more time one-on-one together to like develop a little bit of a design language. Like we create like a curated. Yeah. Am I talking too much about this? we create like a curated presentation based on like a few things that we know that they like.
Yeah.
And we help to kind of like
Educate them on.
educate them, give them the lay of the land of
Yeah.
like, this is like a refined, like one end of the spectrum is like an ultra refined vibe visually. The other end of the spectrum is like more a like ultra relaxed vibe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like showing them examples and being like, okay, what do you respond to in this category? And we go through like multiple different categories to kind of like
build their taste.
build their design vocabulary
Yeah.
and start to like pull out like what is their taste.
Yeah. So this way, whether they hire you at the end of the exploration or not, they are armed with something. Like they're like, I feel like this could be very, very useful for so many people who come up to you and be like, oh, you know, like, hey, can I get your advice on this, or can I get your advice on that? Like, I wouldn't know where to start if I was designing my office. Like, let's say that I didn't have you to do everything for me, you know, and I needed to like, you know, design my office. That is the type of like, most people are just like doing it and like Googling it and like just like, you know, like trying to figure it out on themselves. And the DIY mentality is great. But I think adding this exploratory, like if I was the DIY mentality, I would want to go through what you are like. I would want you to teach me how to know what I don't know. I think it's a really good offering.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good offering.
Well, we'll see.
And one of these days, we'll be able to explain it we'll be able to pitch it into a nice little 2-sentence pitchable thing. That's what you're supposed to do in business these days. You're supposed to have a little elevator pitch. Do you feel like you have an elevator pitch?
For what, myself?
For your business?
Not like that's a 2-minute elevator pitch, but I do think that I know how to talk about what we do and why it has value. And I think I can talk about it in a way that has passion and like my truth. I think my truth feels wrapped up in it, and I think I communicate that when I speak about it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a place where I'm like discovering so much about like I need to discover that I need to discover something in myself or something in like I have a hard time portraying value, like believing in myself and really portraying the value of what I do.
Yeah.
You know, like everything is like never enough. Like 2 people have told me I'm prolific in the last couple of weeks, which is wild. That's the nicest compliment I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it. In my head, I just don't believe it. It's like you're publishing on Substack. You're putting out a thing. You've got a business. You're doing so much. And I'm like, I'm not doing nearly enough is what it always feels like. It always feels like, well, I'm not there. You know, I haven't done it. There's more that I want to do because I didn't make it as an actor, because I haven't published a book, because I haven't done this, because I don't have a retirement account, you know?
Right.
It just always feels like I'll never be able to do enough to be satisfied. And that's that, like, you know, that's that internalized capitalist programming. But I don't want to like also like shit on it like that, because it's just like, all right, that's who it is. Like, I'm an ambitious person. I don't dislike that about myself. I want to do everything. I think that is a good thing. Like, that's the beauty of the human experience, is like I'm an artist and I want to play around in every different art, and I also expect myself to be successful. And I think that's how, you know, humanity started inventing tools, you know, this striving for excellence.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it makes a lot of sense that as a person, I mean, I think we both have that.
Yeah.
People with a lot of drive and high expectations for ourselves and high standards for the art that we put out into the world.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a key inside of yourself that can be turned if you so choose. Because I think you can still have those things, but I keep thinking about the hybrid car battery. Like that, and I really don't want this to come off as like, oh, I have like figured this thing out, because I think you'll figure it out.
You'll figure
things out the way you need to figure them out for yourself.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like this mushroom trip has turned me into a hybrid car battery a little bit, where like I do need a little extra like fuel or something, but like I also feel like there's a big part of me that's regenerating myself now because
You're giving yourself that energy.
Because I believe in myself. That's the first step. Because I believe in myself. I believe in my own value.
Yeah.
Not like I believe in it. It's like I just know. I just know it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just like a little key inside that can like turn. And I think that all those other things will still be there, you know, the drive and the like striving for excellence.
Yeah. I think about that for like, I feel like I'm always in flux with that of like, oh, do I believe in myself or not? And like, oh, you've got to believe in yourself. But like, I feel like in the last few years, it's like I've just discovered that I have always believed in myself. Not 100%.
Yeah.
Most of the time, not 100%. But like, I've believed in myself enough to like pick up and move to New York to try to be a fucking actor.
Yeah.
You know, like I believed in myself enough to start a business. And like, and yes, there's all these pieces of self-doubt, but like, I also kind of know it's just like I've been, you know, successful at most things that I've done. So like, I should just keep doing things. And then I went through this like long dark night of the soul and thought I'd never do anything good ever again and had never done anything. But I feel like I'm coming out of it now and like coming back to that self-belief and like
that's good, babe.
Hoping that it's topped up and like, you know, I feel like we're kind of coming to a real fun, interesting phase in our life. I feel like we're really attracting a lot of wonderful energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we are too. It's in some ways it's hard for me to imagine like what things are going to turn into, and then at the same time I'm like, oh, I've already imagined all of them.
Yeah. I've imagined everything.
Not everything. I don't have that much free time.
Yeah. But yeah.
I've imagined a lot though.
Imagined a lot. Wow, babe, it's almost 55 minutes. We banged this one out.
We banged it out.
We like, you know, it wasn't difficult.
Do you thought it was going to be difficult mentally?
Yeah, sometimes I look down and I'm like, oh God, we're only at 20 minutes. How are we going to get another 20 minutes out of this? And this time I looked over and it's just like, oh, we're already at 40 minutes. Oh, we're at 55. We should probably start to figure out the outro soon. Yeah,
we should probably wrap it up soon. We've got some dumplings that'll be arriving to our door.
Oh yeah.
Probably pretty soon.
Yay. All right, let's get up there and let's say goodbye to our dear friends. Hey guys.
Oh, can I say something first before we go into our outro?
Yeah.
Okay. What I want to say is thank you to all of our new buddies who have been commenting on our YouTube videos.
Yeah. There's even somebody commented on a short. They said hello. I think their name is yes 608 or something. So hello back. Thank you.
Yeah.
The doodle dollars are only valid. They only come from if you print the previous episodes. No, dude. The doodle dollar promotion is over. Wow, I just had a stroke.
It's on pause.
It's on pause.
It's on pause for now.
Okay, what do we got?
Do you want to do the outro today?
No.
You don't?
You always do it.
Okay.
It's the tradition, I mean.
Okay. Our outro is to find your crown.
Find your crown.
Oh my God, I want to make it so long. I know I should make it long.
Just keep it to 3. Keep it to 3. Find your crown.
Find your crown. Imagine it on your head.
Imagine it on your head.
And let your heart explode into the gloriousness that is you.
And let your heart. Okay, so you heard it first. Get your crown.
Find your crown.
Find your crown.
Imagine it
on your head. And let your heart explode with
into the gloriousness
into the gloriousness of
that it is.
that it is. Amen. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time on